your very own caliphate, that calling radio show you so adore. Your calling feeling when you realize gravity no longer has you in thrall, and you fall, falling to the wall. We are the ones who come bearing the message of peace, the end of slavery, the first moon landing, the success of economic revitalization. We will take you, our constituents, by the hand and lead you to the land of promise unearned, and make of each of you the man or child you precisely desire to be, living off your innermost resources, learning to pump the fruit of your loins until the sweet juice flows freely and you suck thereon.
We are in search of a broader kind of politics, a true politics of people. A truth half recognized, but not semiotically inclined, not half fulfilled, instead fully tethered and bound, chain linked to objects and expressed forms de facto, less incognito than a priori and indistinct. A sensation so imprecise as to be inscribed prima facie inside every human mind. A function of common utility and broader purpose, serving the arts and the forces of defense, each in their season, and as prescribed by the jubilant reclusive eye we all possess in our finer moments. Policy of facts, a mighty canon of knowledge bound to truth, not half truth, but the whole truth, not red truth, but the red, white, and blue truth. Our politics is a journey, not a network of schemata, not good TV, not your identification, not a PowerPoint presentation, nor your eco-friendly tote, not a box to tick, and certainly not a patchwork of platforms on which we but temporarily rest our shiny shoes.
And now I have some questions for my opponent. Question number 1. Document. Urgency. Prosecution. Quinoa. What's next on this list? Respond.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a crossroads here. This crossroads where quinoa is not served after or before something, but during something. I stand on a firm platform of quinoa with every meal. Why? Well, it's good for you. It's good for you. It's good for you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this crossroads, for you and your children, do you have any children?
Yes, no.
No. Get some children. Then after that, we will all be at a crossroads where quinoa and prosecution and document and urgency need not come after each other, but at the same time. We like things at the same time. Let's supersize that quinoa. Let's supersize that quinoa. Why? Why not? Is the real question, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, did I mention we were at a crossroads? I may have mentioned that, but I can't emphasize enough how much crossroadiness there is happening in this very room. Did that answer your question?
No.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question.
And this one comes from an audience member from 2 nights ago at the Conundrum Music Hall in Columbia, South Carolina. What do you think about Zionism?
Well, I know what I think. The question is, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about Zionism? It's a deadly plague that we have in this country. Not Zionism. AIDS. But but that's neither here nor there. And certainly not here. Ladies and gentlemen, Zionism, well, isn't that just another word for word?
AIDS.
Word, comment, off-the-cuff remark, very derogatory thing, slip of the tongue, reading the prompter wrong, and all those things. That's what I'm doing right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in it to win it. That doesn't mean anything. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad you guys are here to be part of this journey. Guys and gals, sorry. Guys and gals, here part of the journey. Part of the everyman's journey. Anemon's journey, if you would. That's some sort of language. Ladies and gentlemen, did I mention we were at a crossroads here? Did I answer your question?
No. Final question.
Final question.
If Tasha Yar came back to life instead of the crossroads of Maine and University, what would she do differently this time?
That's a loaded question. Tasha Yar will never be gone, as long as we remember her here. And here. Did I answer your question?
No. Oh, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, I have a question for you. What is a job? It's what you need, isn't it? Keeps you moving, keeps you doing. Also called an occupation, and it occupies your time like a hostile but more or less well-disciplined army, keeping a watch over you and your 2.4 children, huddled in camps with big red Roman letters on the sides of tents, proclaiming your allegiance to the fat old timekeeper who, ambling down the street, dumps you and your family into her deep pockets like an assemblage of jingling coins to be spent at the army provision store on differently colored packets of life and death. Hey, look at me. Do I have a job? Is it what I'm doing right now? Look, I'm wearing a suit. I'm talking in metaphors. I seem to be having a pretty good time. I have pretty nice white teeth. Actually, there's a line down my center dividing my white from my yellow. I think only the yellow part of me should have a job today. Lazy Whitey just wants for us to kick it back with a cold can in one hand and the other flipping the bird to passers-by. But you see, despite how it looks, that's not decay, that's not entropy. Even when white old me is sitting stock still in an off-white plastic recliner wearing my scoop sail shades, I'm advancing steadily. To see, my grandfather had a job. He moved forward like a 12-year-old bolt of yellow lightning across the Pacific Ocean until he was sleeping on his very own ironing board in a laundry in Chinatown for the few hours he wasn't spreading suits on it. The hot metal of the iron claned down to the floor like chips thrown on a poker table. Paso. He was illegal. Chinese Exclusion Act. He literally couldn't talk about it. He told the same fake story so many times he thought the story was the truth. But really the job was the truth until they found him out, and they never did. And my grandfather's paper father disappeared into the earth, and he moved forward and married my grandmother. Now there's a job, and not how you think. I mean, look, every relationship is a job. Every minute you spend playing with your children is a job, and so is giving yourself a headache on the bus playing Angry Birds, because it's all part of wind up and release. That knocks the ball out of the park so much as inertia, which is a property of matter and sounds like nothing. Maybe the sound comes later once a space exists for it to fill. Once your belly is empty and your house is gone. My grandfather's corpse is rotting like it's his job. So is yours. You are ready and you are empty and you are nothing. The wind blows through you and it sounds like the beggar moaning on the street because the president can't create something from nothing. Mr. President, we have to find a new way of moving forward. Let us speak the words that keep the people moving. Let us write the words that translate into doing. Let us speak the words that keep the people moving. Let us write the words that translate into doing. Let us speak the words that keep the people moving. Let us write the words that translate into doing. Speak the words that keep the people moving. Write the words that translate into doing. I want to make a proposition. I want to build a great Tower of Babel now. Before Google Translate is bought out by the Chinese and we all forget how to speak English. Let's build it now because the New York Times says Mexico barely needs us for jobs anymore. So while they still do, let's invite them to build it with us. You know, they'll remember that instead of shooting them in the head in the desert, we held out our hand to offer a sweet drink of jingling water before we shot ourselves in the head. Perhaps, when they in turn become godlike, they'll remember and return the favor and resurrect our bodies, and we'll all move forward together. A great mass of Chinese-speaking zombies holding aloft a big flag with red and yellow Chinese characters, proclaiming our allegiance to getting the great stone up the hill, pushing and smacking our lips and kissing one another because we all deserve to push. And maybe this time we'll really put our backs in it, and the great stone will finally roll over the edge of the cliff, and we'll hear a great sound of water splashing, of laughter laughing, and of freedom.
What do you want, man? What are you saying? Just put a sign up. Just put a sign in. Sheet at the border. Maybe the best way. Apathy. Don't make it easier, but don't make it hard. Would you stop calling to check up on your family, please? The best plan. Herd them in circles, point them all out. Would you stop thinking that you don't speak the language? Maybe the best way, put them in law school, make them take laws, are made to be broken. Now I have some questions for my opponent. Question number 1. Is there a single American identity? Respond.
Well, I usually answer this question from the point of view of a single American. But tonight I'll just answer it as an American. Yes, there is a single American identity. And it has nothing to do with the amount of hair that we have on our chests or the size of our beards. It has so much more to do with a kind of communal feeling. Something that happens when people gather in a living room, in a familiar place, in a familiar town. Maybe they have a little something to drink. Maybe it's water. Maybe it's the blood of an eel. I'm not particular. But anyway, this kind of thing happens in living rooms all across America. People come together. They play board games. Perhaps they play Parcheesi. Plaps, 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 plaps. Perhaps they play Settlers of Catan. Perhaps they play with their pets. Perhaps they play with each other. But it's something about this coming together that makes us American, gathering in private or in public. Especially in private and semi-private. In public. Anyway, did that answer your question?
No. Question number 2. Do you believe in wind power? Respond.
Well, you caught me in a very interesting moment of transition in my thinking on that very subject. Yes, I believe in wind power. Because I believe in global warming. And I live in New York. Let me explain. You may have heard of a little thing called the butterfly effect. That's what happens when a little butterfly, flapping its wings on one side of the world, let's say in China, causes a hurricane right here on the East Coast. Now imagine what happens when you get a little household fan blowing in China, creating massive weather patterns right here on the East Coast. Now let's talk about a very, very big fan. That's what you get when you have wind power. I don't believe it's been adequately studied, but I think one thing is clear. We've only been hearing about global warming in the years since wind power was invented. So, I say, let's make New York more like Florida. Let's bring global warming to a home theater near you. And let's have more air conditioning, but not for people, just for global warming. People can bask outside in the heat they were intended to sweat in. Did that answer your question?
No. Final question.
Yes.
Let's talk about sex. What are the elements of a good grade school health curriculum? Respond.
Well, I'm happy to say that I had a very good grade school health curriculum. For me, sex education started early, began in the classroom. And it only got better from there. I think everyone should have such an education as I had. Then they should be as happy and well-adjusted a creature as I, and wear such powerful boots. I believe if sex education were discussed in the classroom, people could get over all those social problems and physical problems they have early because they have the correct information, move on to more important things in life, like realizing that you don't always have to wear a suit to make a point. Like me right now. I'm strapping on my work boots, putting on my best work shirt in order to get back to what the country really needs, because my mind is not distracted. And that is getting this country powered on coal. Did that answer your question?
No. Nor did it answer the questions of my constituents. I mean 10-gallon hats. And by 10-gallon hats, I mean those who seek to shelter their words behind the grace of their pastors in hopes of making amends with their God. And by pastors, I mean tall gentlemen with something to give you. And by tall, I mean eloquent. And by eloquent, I mean more specifically well-versed in matters of diplomacy and stationery and accessories of indigenous peoples. Whatever that means. And by accessories, I mean the very boils, bruises, scars, and disfigurements on the visible parts of your body that made you different in grammar school, but are fine once you learned you had interest in filmmaking and could afford your first flat in Brooklyn. And by Brooklyn, I mean Sydney, because they have their population under control, and there is respect for one another. No! There is a situation when I'm dressing. My opponent will not dress it because he is afraid, and fear is the default state of those who seek to poison your brother against his brother. There is a way to solve this unswamp, this judiciously viscous predicament, but I need your help. And by help, I mean your promise, your dear, hand-to-heart pledge to assassinate the character of every well-born or hapless indigent. Brother Peter, fox trapper, stowaway, gaming dancer, salt mining laborer, who muscles the righteous, I said muscles the righteous out of their homes. And by homes, I mean professions. And by professions, I mean, of course, the act of transplantation, exportation, elevation, reforestation, urbanization, overpopulation, standard deviation, incapacitation, committed by the Haitians and Croatians who invaded this gas station nation with the aspirations to lay station in poor little turkey-scratched Arkansas. Yes! Fucking Arkansas! And by Haitians, I mean more generally those with guns and armies unafraid to sacrifice by the millions and billions. And it means just one more corn-picking, sweat-shopping day in this great and noble country. Big enough sister liberty to every Johnny, every man, Fanny Freedom, and Nancy not in my backyard, that it is. And by liberty, I mean the liberty to be left alone. And by alone, I mean my friends. And by my friends, I mean you, my constituents. And by constituents, I mean 10-gallon hats. And by 10-gallon hats, I mean the fair-faced little Justins and Kellys waiting to grow up and become the heroes and soul singers this country needs to advance our golden territory to the very heliopause. And by Kelly, I mean Donna. And by Donna, I mean sharpshooting Hubert. Waiting at the border, waiting on the red man, waiting on the red man. Gotta take justice into his own hand, into his own hand. And by sharpshooting, I'm actually implying legislating. What is the alternative, I ask? Do we just have a blind eye anarchy here? Whose side are you on? The Swedes? Do we just take every nanny no job and daddy Denmark that comes begging to be my bartender? No! My drinks are mixed with American hands. And by drinks, I mean schools and school proms, the board of electorates, the police departments of all cities, major and minor. For what is a minor city? A nation as optimistic as we. The code checkers, the House of Representatives, the books, the bands, the salads, the chefs, and even the hat makers. For they are the righteous. They are the sons of Miles Davis and George Washington and our patriots. And by patriots, I mean obstetricians, who guide us in our waiting years and the waxing years of our spawn to great, great victory! Victory! Earn, by the cool, and by spawn, I mean kind words for Shallow Brown and all his Benjamins and his intrepid band. We have laid waste to Saxon's Arthur, and now I go home to claim my sheep for a wife. And I can't, because there is no patronage to freedom. I am rewarded by my own hand for the pleasures and transgressions I commit with the shiny apples of my choosing. And by Benjamins I mean, of course, the dollars, not the persons by that name. And by dollars I mean the mean, clean greenbacks that make this country strong. I'm not sarcastic, I'm not anti-capitalist, but I do see the need to limit the unruly influx of free and cheap labor, because at my core, I'm a man of principles, and of chariots, and of charters, of seasons, of love and kindness that you have bestowed on me. So, thank you, LA, thank you, NY, thank you, New Orleans, Turkey Scratch, Arkansas. This victory is for you. Walls, 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 I must construct walls, because you tell me to, because you bid me to make a castle of this keep, and to make a nation of this castle, and to make a world of this nation, and to make existence of this world. Paul Pinto, running for office. I hope I have your vote. Oh, fabulous. Paul Pinto, running for office. I hope I have your vote. Pleasure to meet you. Paul Pinto, running for office. I hope I have your vote. Paul Pinto, patriot. Paul Pinto, opposite nutrition. Paul Pinto. Paul Pinto. Paul Pinto. How are you? I hope I have your vote. Yes! Paul Pinto. I'm running for office. I hope I have your vote. Fabulous. Paul Pinto. Shaking hands. Paul Pinto. Meeting babies. Paul Pinto. Meeting babies. This has been Jeff Young and Paul Pinto. Patriots run for public office on a platform of swift and righteous immigration reform, lots of jobs, and a healthy environment. An opera by Paul Pinto and Jeffrey Young. We're members of a collective in New York called Thing and Why. We do weird shit. We hope you guys liked it. We are on tour, and we're stopping through Gainesville. Thanks for everyone for organizing this and for coming out and really supporting, and I really appreciate it. We have one album left. It's day 5. We're doing great.
Yeah.
So, we have the display copy left. We have some t-shirts.
Wow.
We have some t-shirts that we're selling. Yeah.
We have plenty more
We have
comic
plenty
books.
more. We do.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
We could give them to them. We have more albums than that. We just have to assemble them. So if you want them and you want to help us on the tour, a donation of $15 gets you an album or a t-shirt. Thanks so much, guys. Yeah, that's it. That's all we have.
That's for you guys.
Thanks for all.
That's a time capsule. You can't open it for 2 years.
Oh,
The power of the dollar will go up. Of course.
It's in
Well,
our
down.
Yeah. No, the
Go up.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the world will go to shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Buy some t-shirts and stuff. Yeah.